The Wheeling Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, March 22nd, 2008 is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mrs. Secretary, sorry, I've been so used to having a Mr. next to me. Mrs. Secretary, please take the roll, please.
Commissioner Villanova here. Commissioner Creech?
Here.
Commissioner Dorbin?
I'm here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Callis?
Here.
Commissioner Powers?
Is absent. With leave.
And Mr. Chairman?
Here. Brooke, any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Citizen concerns and comments? We have no one. Thank you very much. Consent items, docket number SCBA 18-6, Potbelly, 1520 Lake Cook Road, appearance approval of wall signs. And docket number SCBA 18-7, Sunny's Adult Korea, 105 North Wolf Road, appearance approval of a wall sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Creech. Ms. Secretary.
Commissioner Villanova, yes. Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Callis?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers absent. Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Before we go on, I just wanted to tell you that I did go to Sunny's today and walked inside. It's really adorable inside, and they've done a really nice job, and it's very inviting inside.
Great. Thank you.
Did you bring us candy?
Pardon me?
Did you bring us candy?
No, I didn't buy any candy.
Docket number 2018 5A and B, Superdawg Drive-In, 333 South Milwaukee Avenue, 218-5A, special use site plan amendments to Ordinance number 4326 to allow alcoholic beverages, special use site plan approval for packaged liquor sales. Ms. Secretary? No. That.
Got it. Superdawg Drive-In Inc. property owner is seeking special use site plan approval is required under Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-06, Commercial District, Chapter 19-10, Use Regulations, Chapter 19-12 Site Plan Approval Requirements, and associated sections. In order to establish packaged liquor sales at the existing restaurant at 333 South Milwaukee Avenue, Wheeling, Illinois, which is Zone B-3 General Commercial and Office Use. The petitioner is also seeking an amendment to the existing restaurant special use approval that specifically prohibits sales of alcoholic beverages. Zoning special use is defined in Title 19 of the Village of Wheeling zoning is a use of parcel of land that requires review in consideration before approval due to circumstances or effects on the surrounding properties that may adversely affect them. In order to be considered for special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at the public hearing why their request meets conditions of the village code, including but not limited to how the proposed use will not damage the enjoyment of or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statement meant to show that their request of a special use meets the standard established at Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that the statements be entered into a record without the full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and surrounding material submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the Village Board.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, anything?
I would just like to state that the staff report and submittals of the petitioner are part of the public record.
Great, thank you. Mr. Burma, will you be the only one speaking tonight?
I will be.
If you raise your hand, you swear the testimony you give tonight to be the truth?
The whole truth.
Good. And if you
Yes,
could
I
just
do.
state your name and business address.
My name is Scott Berman, B-E-R-M-A-N, Superdawg Drive-In, 333 South Milwaukee in Wheeling. Our corporate address is 6363 North Milwaukee Avenue, Chicago. I am the owner with my family of Superdawg Drive-In, and an attorney, and also a fellow plan commissioner serving on the plan commission in the village of Skokie.
Okay, thank you. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. This is our 70th year in business as Superdawg Drive-In, our 8th year here in Wheeling. We're excited both in our 70th anniversary year and our 8th year here in Wheeling. We have been collaborating with a local brewery in the Jefferson Park neighborhood called Lake Effect Brewery to brew a beer for Superdawg, where the whole family, as we do everything in our family, came together some years ago in 13, 14, and tasted different beers so we could taste those beers that would pair best with our food. Super Dogs, Whoopski Dogs, Super Burgers, Super Fish, Super Shrimp. These beers that I'm bringing you tonight are those beers that we have been selling in the Chicago area at liquor stores. This is the Whoopski beer in the red can and the Super beer in the blue can. This being our 70th year, we wanted to roll out something special, and the two things that we thought would be special, one would be the sale of our collaborated special recipe beer at Superdawg, and the other was a grocery product, Superdawg and Whoopski Dog at grocery stores, which will soon be on the shelves throughout the Chicago metropolitan area. Again, our special recipe. We thought long and hard about what we do. We're very intentional about what we do. Everything is a special recipe, from our Superdawg to our bun to our condiments to our beer. Our intention in selling beer at Superdawg Wheeling is to give the customer this greater, better experience and to be the exclusive seller of this beer in this area. We will be selling it in the Chicago South area, south of our Chicago location, but we didn't want to sell it around here because we want to be that exclusive distributor in the Superdawg location. We will be serving our beer by the can, refrigerated, by pouring it into our Superdawg cups. We will not be installing a tap, just unnecessary. The canned beer is very good. It holds well. We can use it well. We'll be selling, or we intend to sell, unrefrigerated 6-packs of beer. We will only sell beer at our indoor dining room front counter and only sold by Bassett certified people. The only 2 people on our staff that are Bassett certified, and they are there currently every shift, every hour. One of them is Laura Berman-Eustick, my daughter, and another is our other manager, Bright Boateng, and the 2 of them are already past their Bassett certification, and they will be the only ones selling it. It will not be sold in cars. It will not be sold by car hops. It will not be sold at our drive-through window. And we don't have to modify our parking lot or our building in any way. There is adequate storage space and refrigerator space for us to refrigerate. This is a drawing of our current dining room and indoor facility. It shows where we intend to store the refrigerated beer in our walk-in cooler and the unrefrigerated beer in a storage area that we have with rolling racks. It's all food sanitary. Our building is a beautiful building and maintained well, so this fits nicely into it. And I think that is all, except I did want to introduce my granddaughter also, who came with us tonight, Talia Berman Cutler, because this is a family operation. My mother, 92 years old a couple days ago, myself, my sister, my brother-in-law, my daughter, my granddaughter, we're all in it together. Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this matter? No? Okay, great. We'll go to the commission. We'll start with Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. My one question, you stated you're only going to serve it in cups in the dining room. Is there a signage to limit people to consume it in the dining room, or?
No, we didn't think that that was necessary, nor do we think that it is. It's neither necessary in code nor is it necessary in practice. expect that they will drink it in their cups that they will buy at the counter at our picnic area. We have 200 seats, as you know, in our picnic area, and we want them to enjoy it out there. We won't be serving it to them out there. That would be too difficult to control.
Right.
But we can control the dispensing at the counter, and they can take it to the picnic area.
Okay. And the refrigerated six-packs, that's just on your...
The unrefrigerated six-packs. So we're going to be selling canned beer that is refrigerated, and we will pour that can into a cup and hand the customer the cup. The unrefrigerated six-packs, those are just stored in the back of the house, and we will sell those as six-packs.
Then further back, you've got refrigerated six-pack cans.
I'm sorry, that's the storage for the refrigerated,
Okay.
but we are intentionally not selling refrigerated six-packs.
Okay, good.
That's to refrigerate the six-packs, which we then break apart and sell individually
Gotcha.
by the
Okay.
can.
Just wanted to make sure.
That's good. Thanks.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Creech.
I think it's a great idea. I'm looking forward to having a cold beer with my hot dog when I visit your establishment.
Thank you.
I have nothing else. Thank you.
Commissioner Blanova.
Thank you. On those cups that I assume customers will purchase, is it visually, you going to be able to see that it's alcoholic beverage?
Yes, it's a clear cup that we currently serve milkshakes in, and that same clear cup is what we're going to use for this. It's a 16-ounce cup. It works perfectly for a 12-ounce can of beer. You can see through the cup. It's transparent on all sides.
Got it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Commissioner Kalis.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I also think it's a great idea. I especially like the idea you're only serving it there, making it exclusive to drive traffic to your place. I hope we can rival New Glarus, because you can only go to Wisconsin to get that. So hopefully people will come to Chicago to get your beer. But besides the cooling questions, I have none. But thank you.
Great, thanks.
Commissioner Dorbin.
I have nothing. I just would like to point out, it's so nice to see young people in our audience. We don't get that very often, but thank you, young ladies, for coming here. Thank you. That's all I have.
One of my questions, and you answered it, is that you're going to allow them to take the beer out to the picnic area. And so if they want another beer, they're going to have to come in and order it. That's fine. That's not in our purview that we have to worry.
No, it would be, and their liquor license that they would be getting, they would be applying for not only the on-premise consumption, which is the pouring, but the packaged one is a Class D4, and it's for buy the package for off consumption off the premise. So no one would be allowed to take a six-pack and open that.
Yeah, because, well, one, it's warm.
That's intentional. That's intentional.
Unless they want to drink warm beer.
Yeah, so that's not allowed anyways, so.
Okay, that's not allowed. So how will you, and I don't want to use the word, how will you manage the outside? What's your intention there?
We've given this a lot of thought as we do everything in our business. We know that could get unruly. There's the remote possibility of that. Not only our two Bassett managers are trained not only to recognize that at the counter when they're serving, but also to recognize it in a party setting. I'm on site much of the time. My daughter's on site the rest of the time. And our other manager, Bright, who's been with us for 20-some years, is on site. And we will train other staff likewise to recognize it. So car hops who are serving out in the picnic area will also know to recognize it. While they don't need to be Bassett trained, although we could Bassett train them also, because they're not serving, they will be trained by us to recognize any unruly behavior. We have always been BYOB in Chicago, so that going back to our experience for 70 years now. And people have, for many years, brought their own beer and wine also, strangely enough. We have a liquor store that occurs immediately south of our Chicago location, and we have a picnic area there also, and people do drink beer and wine in our picnic area, and we control that the same way with our visual managers and car hops.
Okay, and of course, we don't have a BYOB here, so, I'm asking these questions. I don't think anything's going to occur. I mean, you're going there for a hot dog and a burger, or, So it's just something that probably has to be logically reviewed as you're doing that. And again, you said that car hops cannot sell it. If somebody pulls in and orders something, they can't order it there. They would have to come in and eat, technically, eat in there or go out to the picnic area.
Correct.
Okay, great. So, and I'm not sure if I'm stepping into the liquor commission area or this is germane to what we're talking about. So you have your register. You have a couple registers where people take orders. Most of the time, younger kids, I mean, under 21, not Bassett trained. So what's the process that would occur if I walked in and wanted a hot dog and a beer?
Identical to, I'll explain the process in a moment, but the end of the story is it's identical to what you see in a grocery store where sometimes clerks are under 21 and they call over a manager to punch the register. Okay. So now to explain the process, customer comes up, orders much food in addition to which they order the beer, and then a manager steps forward, either Laura or Bright or other managers, if there are other managers who would be Bassett trained, and they're the only ones that can press the key with a swipe card and ring up the beer.
Okay. And then,
per beer, per customer, per transaction.
Okay. And then they would serve the beer then?
Correct.
Okay.
Only Laura and Bright at the moment, or other managers if we have other managers.
And if, okay, that's fine. I'm thinking of, if you go to the ballpark, no, that's not germane to this. Go to a ballpark, you can only order two, so.
We're only going to be ordering one at a time. And also, one other thing you might be asking about, which is carding, we intend to card everyone. Similar to the practice at some places where they card everyone, gray hair or not. Laura and Bright know already they're going to card everyone, be they gray haired or not. And
Do you serve, you said your Superdawg in the city is BYOB, so you don't serve the beer there?
we do not.
Okay, cool.
We do not, have not, always had a nice relationship with the liquor store next door.
Right, and, yeah, I can, yeah. That's fine, yeah, great. Okay, I have no other questions. It's a great idea. You do have, I just thought of something else. You do have, sometimes you have car shows?
Car nights,
Yes.
yeah.
Car nights and
Yes.
things like that. So how are you going to handle that? I guess if you have car nights, they could probably get a beer and walk outside.
That's what we expect. We expect that, we hope that. It is partly the car shows that drove the desire for this. Of our many customers that come to us, some of those that are the most enthusiastic about the idea of beer are the car shows.
Because I know you've asked for and obtained special liquor licenses for some nights, I recall, on some of the.
That is correct.
liquor
Laura
commission
was
that
Bassett
does.
trained some years ago to do that, and we have had that for some parties that we've
Sure.
had over the years
Okay,
and controlled them well.
thank you. I have nothing else. Does anybody else have any other
I
questions?
have another question. I'm not familiar with Bassett training. Is part of it, in the event that something does happen out in your patio, and if you do need to confront somebody that's unruly or walking down to, I don't know, Bob Chin's with their cup, like what, is there a procedure in place where your managers know what to do with that? Do you confront it? Do you call the cops? Like what happens if somebody?
Part of the Bassett
all.
training is trying not to engage in any sort of difficult situation.
Yeah.
But when it moves beyond, we're not serving you anymore, you seem like you've been you overdrunk at the moment.
Yeah.
Or you're walking off premises and we can't stop it, then both of our managers and all of our employees have been and will be trained to call the police.
Okay, because this isn't Chicago necessarily, but Restaurant Row is such that you could theoretically go Bob Chin's, have a Mai Tai, come to your place, have a beer, go to DiAgostino's, have a pitcher, and, just want to make sure that you guys are obviously aware of.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
Sure would be.
I will tell you that in Chicago.
Not that I would do that, of course.
In Chicago, where we have a 70-year experience of this.
Okay.
We have never called the police.
Okay, great.
In 70 years.
I don't assume so. I'm just, in the event that you do.
It means we're pretty good at it. We're
Okay,
pretty
great.
good at controlling our customers, maintaining a very friendly family atmosphere.
I just didn't know if there was a standard procedure, like if someone's unruly, then you do this. So anyway, as long as you guys are prepared for that.
So So if one person walks in and orders a hot dog and order 4 beers, that's,
We will not do that.
okay, so it's 1-to-1.
Correct.
Okay. So my wife's going to have to come up and get her own beer.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's not only to control quantity of drinking by the person, but it's also to control age.
I mean, and you've got a great environment.
Yeah.
It's not, it's a great hot dog stand, and they're going to come in, have their hot dog, have a beer, and, yeah.
We want to maintain that. We like that environment. And
Great environment. It's a great environment, so. Any other questions?
Not here.
So do I hear a motion on first one, whatever that was? Docket number 2018-5A.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dorban, second by Commissioner Kalis. Ms. Secretary.
Commissioner Villanova, yes. Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
And Mr. Powers absent.
2018-5B, special use site plan approval for packaged liquors. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Kalis. Ms. Secretary.
Commissioner Villanova, yes. Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
You have something to sign here?
Yes.
You can leave the beer.
Yeah. We'll need to see some.
When do you plan on starting now?
We come to the Board of Trustees on April 2nd, like I said, and then after that, we go to state license, which Martin has said is just a day or two beyond that, so very early in April. The beer is actually being brewed as we speak. The brewmaster brews about 1,000 cans of each every 3 weeks, depending on our need, and also distributing throughout Chicago.
Mr. Berman, just sign all 4 of those and we'll give you copies. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Excuse us, we're going to take Callie home for homework.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks again, everybody.
Thank you.
Calling docket number 2017 dash, oh, I'm sorry. That's why I hesitated. Calling docket number 2018-6, 9 Round, 1540 Lake Cook Road. Special use site plan approval for a health club. Ms. Secretary.
Maureen Tui, applicant on behalf of 9 Round, is seeking special use site plan approval as required under Chapter 19-06 Commercial District, Chapter 19-10 Use Regulations, and Chapter 19-12 Site Plan Approval Requirements, and associated sections to establish a health club at 1538 Lake Cook Road, Wheeling, Illinois, which is Zone B-1 Planned Shopping Center District.
Thank you. Brooke, anything?
I would like to note that the staff report and submittals of the petitioner are part of the public record.
Before the petitioner speaks, I do have a question. The review that you gave us has an address of 1540, but this reads 1538.
That's because the site is currently a two-unit that will be subdivided, and I believe the site that is being reviewed tonight will become 1540.
Okay, great, thank you. Will you both be speaking tonight? on this matter?
Yes.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you give tonight to be the truth?
Yes.
Great, thank you. And as you speak, each individually speak, just give your name and business address into the microphone. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Maureen Toohey.
If you could lower that a little bit so everybody can hear you on TV, and don't be nervous. There's just 6 or 7 of us here.
It's just a bunch of people staring at me, okay.
Right, exactly, right. Yeah, that's true. Okay, we promise not to stare, but, okay. Just give your name and business address.
Yes, I'm Maureen Toohey, Maureen, last name is Twohey. Business address is 1540 East Lake Cook Road in Wheeling. Zip.
And I'm Josh Lappins with Forefront Properties. We're the landlord for the property. Our address is 1S450 Summit Avenue in Oak Brook Terrace.
Great, thank you. Okay, so Ms. Tui, the floor is yours to explain what you're going to be doing,
Okay.
what you're proposing.
9 Round is a fitness facility that is full-body kickboxing for 30 minutes. It is set up with 9 stations. There's, each of the members work out 3 minutes at each of the stations with a 30-second active rest in between. We have different workouts every single day. There are no set class times, which people love because they show up and they can just start working out and get on with their day. We have personal trainers that are with everybody every step of the way, just in case they need modifications to help motivate them, to take them through all the proper forms of the exercise. The place is set up so that around the perimeter we have our kick bags and speed bags, and they just follow the route around the gym. We have music, doesn't get any higher than 80 decibels. We will have soundproofing for that. And I don't know. Any questions?
We will get to you.
I bet.
Oh, well, I'm just writing something down.
Okay.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Great. So we will start with Commissioner Kalis.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for explaining that. Seemed like a pretty simple concept. Are you, the subdivision, are you actually, you're not taking that other side, it's just the one side for, okay. Looks pretty simple. The only thing, the first thought I had was, you know, I drive by ilovekickboxing.com, their place right by my house, so it's interesting to see that there's a market for so much kickboxing, so I hope you succeed. I don't have any questions specifically, but I like that a health concept is coming into town. It's very important for community, so thanks for presenting. No questions here.
Commissioner Creech.
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Dorbin.
Thank you. Actually, I've been by there a couple times because I know we talked about the parking issue, but I've been by there a few times in the morning, and there has been virtually no cars there. So I don't have any concern with that. I really was not familiar with 9 Round, so I Googled it, and saw how it's laid out. It's very interesting how it's laid out, and that it says that there's 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Is that the normal length of time that somebody stays?
A typical person will stay probably about 40 minutes because they wrap their hands before they start their workout, and then on the way out, they're unwrapping their hands, making sure they have their gloves and everything. And it's a very friendly environment, so sometimes, you know, you stay and you chat a little bit because you get to know everybody by name. They walk in and you just know them, which is great. So it's a really nice atmosphere.
Well, it looked very, very interesting, so
It's lots of
I have
fun.
no
You're
other
gonna have to try it
questions,
out.
but good luck.
Thank you.
Commissioner Blanova.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great concept. The only concern I had, it was soundproofing, but I guess you addressed that. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Okay, so you're going to have to add a door on the storefront?
Yeah, so what we're doing, so we actually today signed a lease with another tenant for the other space.
Oh, great.
Retail use, Sprint is putting another phone store in there. Right now, it's a Verizon, so we're splitting in half. So that's what's going there. We'll put a new rear door in, and then the wall between it, we're actually going to do a 6-inch wide wall with double insulation. So it has an STC rating of 51, which means it's essentially a soundproofed wall. The other side is a cinder block wall, so on the drawing to the left, that shares with Binny's, and that's a cinder block wall with drywall on the outside. The new partition wall will be 6 inches with 6-inch thick Roxel insulation, which is sound bad insulation, and then the Sprint store will go on the other side.
Okay, so you're cutting a new door in the back and a storefront. Okay, that's all I had, thanks.
Thank you. So, Ms. Tu, you said that there were 9 stations?
Correct.
So looking at this drawing, so help me with the 9. What are the 9 that are here?
Okay, the first station on the left, we would have jump rope, and then the second station, we have free weights or medicine ball work, and then you have a kick bag at the 4th station. I'm sorry, you have the punching bag at the 4th station, then you have a kick bag at the 5th.
So I missed the first station. So that's just against the wall, something flat against the wall?
Yes, that's where we would be having the jump ropes.
Okay, great, okay. Okay, got it. So I'm still.
And then the station 9 is always ab work. So there's not going to be, you won't see it on there, that'd be a flat wall as well.
Okay,
Or people
great.
doing planks or crunches or.
Got it,
catching
so,
medicine balls.
okay. So what, Commissioner Kalis mentioned that we have a kickboxing place right down the street here. It's called I Love Kickboxing, I'm sure you're aware of them.
Yes.
And so what's the difference between that and your concept, the concept of 9-round?
One of the major things is that we don't have class times, which is ideal, especially for most working women that have little ones at home that can never match their socks, because I'm always like 10 minutes late for everything. But when I show up at 9-round, I'm always on time. We also keep the classes, such that they are, when people are walking in, small, so you're always getting that personal attention. The other location, I believe, they have 30 people at a time in there, and they have class times. So it's set up very differently. They have different personal attention. And it really depends the type of workout that you're interested in. I think both appeal to different types of people.
Okay, so you mentioned in your your letter that you sent to the village that you have a certified trainer during each session, but you say you don't have sessions. So just clarify that for me.
Okay, there are trainers on staff throughout the entire day. So we'll have, I'll be on site pretty much all the time, plus at least one other trainer, so that we're working with individuals. Usually what happens is that you have one person on the front of the house dealing with the 4 locations at the front, and then one person at the back, so that we're constantly working with people, as well as giving them one-on-one attention with the trainers, so that maybe they're doing kick drills specifically with the trainer instead of being on a kick bag to kind of mix things up a little bit.
Mixing things up with boxing, I don't know if that's. So, no, okay, so what is, I'm just, for everybody that might be watching this, so this is a franchise, because I see that there's a number, there's one in Northbrook, Glenview.
Yes.
Arlington Heights, and it's a franchise.
They just opened up, I believe, their 600th
Wow.
9-round nationally. So it's growing very quickly. It's located out in South Carolina. The owner is a national kickboxing champion. And it's really for people any age. I mean, my daughter came in and was so much better than I was at the speed bag the very first time she tried it out. So from 10 years old, I've worked with, when I went for my training out in South Carolina, I worked with 2 80-year-olds that were hitting the bag. So it's really up to, whoever wants to work out, and the trainers modify so you can do your best for who you are.
And is it a per session fee, or do you do monthly fees? How does that work?
We set it up so you can do a 12-month contract if you decide you'd like to, but you can also do it month to month, and we also have paid in fulls for a 6-month and a 12-month.
Oh, okay. And the reason why I'm asking is some people might want to know that could be listening, and, and it'd be in our minutes too. So, okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes. Do you have a target date of when you want to open?
Pam, your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. A target date for when you want to open?
I was hoping by around the 20th of April.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kalis, you have a question?
No, it was just the microphone.
Oh,
So,
okay, great. Thank you. If there are no other questions, do I hear a motion on 2018-6?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dorban, second by Commissioner Kalis. Ms. Secretary?
Thank you. Commissioner Villanova, yes. Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Callis?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion to close?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. You'll have something to sign, and congratulations, and welcome
you
to the
very much.
village. See, it wasn't that bad, was it?
No, it wasn't.
My 5-year-old also loves kickboxing, so she, yeah. There's no age limits.
And then you can sign both of those. And that one is yours to keep, so it shows everything. And thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Ready for next? Calling dockets number 2018 3A and B, continued from March 8th, 2018 without discussion, Mexico Mufflers and Brakes, 1210 North Elmhurst Road, 2018-3A Special Use Plan Approval for Light Motor Vehicle Repair, 2018-3B, zoning variations related to required parking, green space, building setback, and parking setback. Ms. Secretary. And then that.
Got it. Mexico Mufflers and Brakes for Last 2 Incorporated. Owner is seeking the following for the property at 1210 Elmhurst Road, which is Zone B3, General Commercial and Office District. 2018-3A variation from Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-06, Commercial District, Section 1906-010, Commercial District General Requirements, subsection C1, required off-street parking, Section 1906-040B-3, General Commercial and Office District, subsection D3, minimum green space, subsection E, minimum principal building rear yard setback and minimal parking setback, and associated sections to establish a light auto repair facility. And 2018-3B, special use site plan approval is required under Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 1906, Commercial District, Chapter 19-10, Use Regulations, Chapter 19-12, Site Plan Approval Requirements, and associated sections in order to establish light auto repair use.
And then that one.
A zoning variation is intended to be a method of adjustment of equalized regulations where Title 19 of the Village of Wheeling zoning has created an unnecessary hardship. A variation is designed to allow affected property owners the same rights and privileges that others enjoy in the same zoning district. In order to be granted a variation, a petitioner is required to demonstrate through the testimony to the Plan Commission at the public hearing why their request meets the conditions of the village code, including but not limited to how their individual situation is unique or unusual. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that their request for variation meets the standards established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without the full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings to support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board.
Thank you. Brooke? Anything?
I would like to note that the staff report and submittals of the petitioner are part of the public record.
Great, thank you. Good evening. You will both be speaking tonight. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you give tonight to be the truth?
I do. Yes.
Great, thank you. And as you speak, as you heard before, as you come up to speak, if you could, well, actually, if you could do that right now, give your name and business address so our secretary can hear that. Thank you.
My name's George, last name Duenas, Duenas, and the corporate office is 1212 North Elmhurst Avenue in Wheeling. Prospect Heights.
Thank you. And your name, sir?
My name's Thomas Budzik. It's Budzik. The architect on the project. Our address is 2800 South River, Suite 105 in Des Plaines.
Thank you. The floor is yours to explain what you want to do.
So the property owner currently operates his business at the location at 1212 North Elmhurst Road, which is actually in Prospect Heights. He has purchased this building at 1210 Elmhurst Road primarily because he's seen an increased demand in his business, and he basically will utilize the space to expand his light auto repair use. It is rather unique condition. The intention is to basically use the existing building generally as it's currently laid out. So there are really no material changes to the building itself other than taking care of some deferred maintenance issues. The existing building has 4 bays within it with 2 overhead doors. There's a large overhead door in the front and a large overhead door on the back of the building as well. There's an access drive running along the north end of the property to get to that overhead door on the west side of the building. The property owner's intention is basically to direct all of his customers to his location at 1212 North Elmhurst Road and to reserve the parking at 1210 Elmhurst Road for his employees and to have his employees move the vehicles as necessary to the 1210 location. As such, they wouldn't be doing oil repairs or repairs of that nature at the 1210 location because it's not as suited for having the employees take the vehicles over there. It would still be light auto repair. I believe you'd mentioned sensor repair, muffler, not something where there would be long-term vehicles at this location. So the current property, there are a number of setbacks that there are a number of variations that we're requesting. Many of them are a result of just the layout of the existing building. So there's a reduction in the rear yard setback. This building has been in this configuration for many, many years, and the current property owner has just recently purchased it. He's had really no involvement in the layout of the existing building. There's a request for a reduction in the green space requirement. Again, the property is almost 100% impervious. We are trying to do a few things to add some green space and to improve some of the landscaping around the building. There's also a reduction in the setback for parking, the location of parking spaces. This is, again, the existing configuration of the site for many years. Perhaps the most important one is the reduction in the parking count from 12 down to 7. Essentially, since we're limiting the customer access to the site, the intention is that between the employees and then the occasional car that might be waiting to be serviced on, that the 7 spaces will be more than sufficient, and that the location at 1212 will be able to handle his current parking demand for the customers.
Can you describe what you're going to be doing to the exterior of the building?
So, given that we're really not doing many modifications, other than some deferred maintenance items, we're just looking to basically repaint the building, replace the doors necessary, repair the existing masonry trash enclosure, which is in disrepair. So it's relatively minor items, planning for a couple of planter boxes in front of the building to again.
So this is what's up here now. Can you describe what you're going to paint?
Sure. So it's a simple 3-band color scheme. The lowest band lines with the top of the overhead door in a darker gray color. the intermediate band, which is essentially that checkerboard, where you see that existing checkerboard paint scheme that's currently there, that would be in a lighter gray. At the very top, just a light beige color. And we do have paint samples here we can show them.
Why don't you bring those out?
Sure.
You can start in the middle and we'll get it. So what do you have here?
There, basically, this is the dark gray, lighter gray, and then the beige color.
Okay. All right. There, and then these two.
Okay, I saw.
Okay.
We have additionally looked at staff's comments from the staff report and would like to offer some clarification on the outdoor storage. They have sufficient secure storage in their existing 1212 location. They wouldn't be doing any kind of high-value part storage or the things of that nature there. It would be very limited. It's essentially the best current use of that space. So there might be some muffler storage there, something along those lines. We are also providing screening along the west side to the residential property, so just to limit the unsightliness of that.
Did everybody see the colors?
We did, yes.
Great.
You saw them down there? Okay.
Okay, great, thank you. Do you have anything else, sir?
One other item I just wanted to also point out is that there is what's called out as an existing concrete retaining wall at the north end of the property. In reality, that's more of a curb than a retaining wall. And in speaking with the property owner, they would be willing to remove a section of that to allow vehicular access between the two properties there, as opposed to actually having their employees move the car onto Elmhurst Road.
Yeah.
If that would be. If that would be preferred, I should say.
We're going to come to you and ask you the question, so.
I already had that question.
It would be helpful if an engineer could review that in terms of not only the change in grade, but also access easements. I think perhaps you would come back to us for a site plan change if you would like to do that in the future.
Yes, and I do want to also kind of point out that the Sawtooth location is probably not the best either for Wheeling or for Prospect Heights. So that's something that ideally, should this property get somehow annexed into Prospect Heights, that this would be a lot easier to resolve at that point. So that's something that we're looking into pursuing on a parallel track.
So what does that mean to us here?
So
Just
for tonight, I think we would not
address it
not
at all.
address it,
Leave
but if in the future they'd like to make those modifications, it would be a site plan change to the special use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did everybody hear that?
Yes.
Not discussing taking that out, and if they do need to come back, it will be a site plan change that would have to come before us.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that was one of my questions / concerns of like, you have to come out on Elmhurst, come
Right.
back, so I
Okay,
guess I'll just not say that.
Is that all you have right now? Great, thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this matter? If not, okay, great. Commissioner Dorband.
Thank you. I understand that you're going to resurface the entire parking lot, is that right? Because can we bring that picture up, please? And that section, so all of this is going to be cleaned up and resurfaced and, okay. And what do you intend to store outside of this building?
It's very limited at this point, so there might be some muffler storage back there.
In the back.
What about in
In
front?
front, nothing. You just said
Yeah,
something
there-
about the floor.
If you could, sir, if you could just speak into the microphone so we can hear you.
No, in the front, we're not going to store anything.
Nothing. Okay, can we go back to the side area, please? What are your intentions here on this, on that section, that whole area?
So we are showing to restore the sod that's in that area, to repair the masonry trash enclosure, and to provide some foundation landscaping along the building.
What about grading?
In looking at the staff report, does that need to be made a condition that you have on page 10?
The petitioner can
Number 1 and
correct me
2?
if I'm wrong, but I think this is noted on the landscape plan, right? That there's new sod and new shrubs.
Yes.
And then it also said that, it says, number 1 is, prior to occupancy, the parking lot shall be resurfaced and restriped. Does that need to be stated specifically as a condition?
That is a condition in the
It
motion
is.
right now.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's already in there. Okay, that's my only questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Creech.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This particular property is rather odd that it's actually Wheeling. What is the history of this being annexed into Wheeling?
I don't have the date
I
in
think that was
front of
before
me.
we were born.
No,
I don't know
think so.
exactly when.
I know. Yeah, I know.
You don't know when or why?
I don't have the history. I'm sorry.
And now you mentioned that you're possibly going to annex to Prospect Heights?
Well, I think it's in the benefit of both Prospect Heights and Wheeling to go that route. There's obviously a lot of, there's a number of issues. The B3 district is really not intended for such a small
Correct.
property. They can't ever connect the buildings, which they may in the future choose is the best route to go forward, is to try to connect the buildings.
So but you don't own that other property, you're just leasing that other property, and you bought this property.
Yes, they're the
Correct?
primary, yes, they're the primary tenant, but should they acquire the 1212 property, should they become owners of the 1212 property, then it would be in their interest to,
So are you looking to purchase the property north of you as well?
We're on the lease as if the owner decides to sell, we're on first, the last cost first, so. But we
So
have a
how
10-year
long is your
lease.
current lease?
I'm sorry?
How long is your current lease?
10 years.
10 more years, so
Well, it's 5 years.
28?
And yes, plus another 5 on the lease. And we've been there for 10 years.
And then obviously, if they did decide to go the route of kind of annexation, that would all be legal aspects that would have to be worked out and approved by municipalities. So it's not even in the works yet, so. It's something
Well,
for the,
I'm just really curious that he's purchasing a property in Wheeling. He's leasing a property in Prospect Heights where he's doing the bulk of his work. Our particular zoning asks for office. I would think that you would make that an office rather than a commercial space and move your office over there, since you're going to have to do a lot of work on the inside of that property as well. So, I mean, you're putting a large investment into that particular property, and then, and you don't even know if, that guy might sell it to somebody else. And then you're stuck with this little building with 4 bays, whereas if you have an office, you could always use it as an office, but.
Well, it's a muffler shop and a mechanic shop. Our office is very small. It's about 100 square feet. That's all we need for an office. It's just for the receptionist. We have a corporate office in Frankfurt, And that's where we have our employees we have 14 locations from Mexico Mufflers. So we have a big office, we have it in Frankfurt. So the only office we need for that location is for the secretary or the receptionist that answers the phone and greets the customers.
Well, this particular property really doesn't even fit in where it's at right now for what it's doing. And then, you know, you're asking for a number of variations here.
So I would note that 3 of those variations are really structural to the property, and anyone choosing to reuse the property, the building as is, would be, even if they wanted to
Could you
convert it
speak into the microphone?
If they tried to reuse the building as is, if, let's say, convert it to office space, 3 of those variances, and possibly the parking variance may still apply. So the next owner would suffer the same challenges that the current property owner has. And they are well aware that this single property is not self-sustaining. They couldn't run their operation just out of this property, and it's, I think, the business risk that they're taking to acquire this property, because they have the demand right now, the increased business that they can do out of this location. Should something happen with the 1212 location, they'll have to do something else there. They couldn't continue to operate.
And to that point, Commissioner Creech, I think we have a condition to that if the property gets sold. How did you word that?
If the subject property is no longer owned or operated in tandem by the light auto repair business at 1212 Elmhurst Road, the village shall be notified so that we can determine if the special use is still operating as it was approved.
So we're building in some type of...
So, I'm sorry, so does that mean that it would go back to its original zoning?
The underlying zoning does not change. The
So
special use
it would still be B1?
I'm sorry?
It still would be B1?
B3, yes,
Or, I'm sorry, B3?
yes.
And then the special use for the automotive would be removed?
It may be.
It'd have to be reviewed by the plan commission to make sure that the intent of the special use you're considering today didn't change. Because this is a very unique
Yes, it is very
symbiotic
unique, and
relationship.
it's very
And
unique that
so-
it's even there.
So it's just this, so if that changed, then the intensity of the use would likely change enough that, could potentially change enough that the special use would need to be reviewed, and either more conditions could need to be added, or, evaluation by the plan commission at that time, to see if the standards are still being met or not.
Okay. On the south side of the property where they show all the water on the sidewalk, so is that water from your property, or is that all that standing water from the property to the south? And are you going to address that grading issue?
I know that we haven't studied where that water is coming from. I know that the residential properties to the west are higher, that it's about 12 or 18 inches higher. I'm not sure if there's a significant grade difference to the property to the south, so I'm not sure where that water is coming from.
Well, there's another problem. We don't have any control over the grading on the adjacent property to the south of that. So if their downspouts and stuff are pouring right into, their sidewalk, we have no control over that. So that's a problem for you guys.
Because it's
Which is, that's going to be where all your customers are going to be, coming to see you, is down that sidewalk. And in the cold weather, this might be just an ice pond.
Well, the intention is to have the customers at the 1212 location. So if anything,
Well,
the
you're
walk is for the employees.
I still got employees too, you're gonna worry about them as well, but still, I would like you to alleviate the standing water because, that's a health hazard in and itself. And I don't know where it's coming from. Is it washing from the back of your property where, you possibly might have the storage from, auto parts and such, and it's, contaminating the ground there? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that the property owner will investigate that and determine what the best course of action is there, because he clearly is not going to want standing water on his property either. Unfortunately, we don't have an answer in terms of where it's coming from.
Okay, this existing asphalt drive on the north side of the building, now you're removing all of the chain link fence around there on that particular property, which is, actually it's on 3 sides, and then you have a fence that's parallel with the front of this building. Is that all being removed?
Yes, that's being removed.
And you're going to replace that with a board-on-board cedar fence? And that's just going to be on the south and west elevation? Now, is that going to continue all the way to Hinch Road? Or is it just for this property?
Oh, on the 1212 side, do you know if they're going to put a fence there?
We could if
We could, I mean, the property owner would be.
That would be off of the
Yeah, it wouldn't
subject
be-
property and out of the village of Wheeling, so I don't think it should be suggested.
Okay, so it would just be on the south elevation and the west elevation, and it would stop at the property line going north? Is that right? Am I correct in assuming that? You don't have any,
That's what the plan shows, is that correct?
Yes.
okay, and on page 53 of our packet, it says that it's 50/50 on that enclosure. And then on page 52, it's solid, so I'm a little confused on that. So that fence, that's the storage area, which would go east and west to create that little storage area in the back, and the fence next to the trash enclosure, which doesn't really show what that is. Is that also board on board?
Yes, that'll all be board on board.
It'll all be the same?
It'll all be the same, yes.
Okay. Again, with that asphalt drive on the north side of the property that goes around the back, that's all going to be redone as well as the parking lot?
Yes.
Are you going to go over this, or is this going to be remove and replace?
It does not look like it warrants, it does not look like it's possible to just go over the top. It looks like it's too far gone. They'll have to take it up and redo it.
Okay, that's what I thought as well. So there will be no parking allowed on this drive in the rear and along the north of the building, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, no, that's to serve the overhead door in the back.
Okay. Now, so the interior of the building, the build-out would also have to go up to Wheeling's village code standard, correct? Brooke?
Sorry, what?
The interior build-out, they would have to conform to our current codes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Stay down there. Commissioner Kalis.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I was also curious about that water, so I'm not sure what we can require or ask for or whatever, but that is a health, it's an interesting picture that we showed it with all this water. It's good for us to see that happens, because I know in my neighborhood on the sidewalk, water comes and my grandfather-in-law slipped, so it's a slip hazard in the winter. So we just need to figure out something about that. I don't know if that's a condition that we get that fixed or how we do that, but I was curious about the concrete curb as well. Like removing it makes sense, but obviously it's a little bit, we're not going to talk about that. And it's the shrubs, there are no shrubs at 1210 right now, but you're going to put 2 shrubs on either side of the door, right? To make it have some greenery, make it look nicer. I don't think I can say anything about 1212, but like it'd be nice to have matching shrubs across since the variance for the greenery is that you're reducing it, but in order to make it look more appealing with fresh paint is some greenery. So I appreciate the shrubs in the front of the 1210, but then there's none matching at 1212, so.
Well, we agree, if it's going to look, we want them to know that it's the same business.
Continuation, yeah.
It's a good idea, and I think
Yeah.
I would agree with you.
In the picture, it's garbage cans, which is not nearly as pleasing to the eye as bushes. It would be nicer to clean it up, and it's to your benefit as the owner to make it look as appealing as possible. And to your concern, Creech, about the variations, I think, are going to be required for any business that's there, and it would probably be in the event that you don't own it in the future, if it sells to somebody, if the owner of 1212 sells to someone else, it would only make sense that they sell to someone who owns both of them anyway. Like, it's hard to predict what's going to happen in the future just because it's such a weird situation. But it seems like they have to go together. That was my question actually. Was 1210 previously a freestanding, like the signage is the same, it says New Horizon. Did New Horizon own this before, or was it a separate business?
It's a separate business from 12.
Running on its own, so it can be a standalone business? It does not have to work with yours?
It was.
It was?
It was
Okay.
before, it's not anymore. And that's why they went out of business, because the other business is too big. So a standalone there
Got
wouldn't
it.
compete against the other one.
Okay, so it was the same sort of business and you just did better than them. Okay.
Yeah, they actually
it.
foreclosed on that building.
Got it. Okay. I mean, it makes sense for that to be yours, but the existing is not yours, so that's where it's a little bit troubling to predict the future of what's going to happen, but that's not our job here, necessarily. So yeah, I was just curious about the greenery in the front, the
We have
water.
a very good relationship with the owners. We do rent from 2 other locations that they have.
Okay.
The man is retired and their kids are not into the real estate business. And they're saying if anything were to happen to their parent, they would still rent it to us. I mean,
Right.
We've been renting from them for 10 years on one and 15 years on the other.
Great, yeah, I appreciate that there's a good relationship there. In that event, you said that in the event that he sells, you would be first in line, you get first dibs per se.
Correct, on
But
1212.
Have you ever explicitly asked him to buy it?
Right now, since the father's still alive, they don't want to sell.
They just won't, okay. I guess the alternative is they buy this parcel, but it's a different thing entirely.
Exactly. I mean, that's what we're thinking as well. So if for any reason we don't lease, they would be in first to buy that one as well.
Gosh, this is strange. It's standing water, fences, shrubbery, and then the pavement obviously needs to be fixed, which you mentioned. So now, have you ever had are there houses to the back of the property you're leasing? Has there ever been any issues with the residents behind about noise with guns that you're like do you make noise with like guns taking off tires or anything?
Yeah,
is it
nowadays
loud?
the guns are not as noisy as before.
Okay.
What do you call the compressors?
Yeah,
are
right,
new,
that's what
so
yeah.
they're not that loud anymore.
I didn't mean to use the word gun in the sense that.
Yeah, and we've never
air
had
gun.
any complaints.
Okay, that was my question, if you've ever had any issues with, I suppose if there were issues in the past, they would maybe be here,
We're on a 3-tier lease, so we fix everything. So the owner doesn't do anything.
That's true.
So we go and if we have anything to do, we fix it right away. We haven't had any complaints with Prospect Heights.
Okay, and I feel strange asking these questions because it's all Prospect Heights related, but it is theoretically related to us.
No, actually, behind them is Wheeling.
Yeah.
The homes behind them is
homes
The other
Wheeling.
property.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, the homes behind them is Wheeling. That's all
All right.
Wheeling.
Well, then even better. There's nobody here to speak to that, so they either don't know about it or it's not a problem. So, yeah, that's all the questions I have. It's still a tough situation, but thank you.
Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you. Tagging on to that, I assume that the neighbors right behind them were noticed on this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Can we go to the side photo? Yeah, that one. That looks worse in this particular version of it than it does on ours. But are you gonna power wash the bricks or anything? It looks really bad here.
Yes, our intention is to fix everything from the outside.
You're not painting this side, though, you're just gonna clean it up.
So you want to add that as, if you can add that as a condition, that the sides will be power washed? I was going to ask that same question.
And
Oh, definitely. That's on the other
are you
side.
adding lighting on here? On the elevations, it looks like there's some new light fixtures.
Yes, we're adding a handful of exterior, wall-mounted exterior lights to light up the site.
Okay. And one of the comments in the fire department review was suggesting a sliding gate on the trash enclosure instead of the,
Yes, that's
Little
perfectly
gate.
fine. We can make that adjustment.
so do we need to make that a condition, or?
We
Yes.
can add that as a condition if everyone's in agreement.
Get rid of the door.
Yes.
And then the last question I had hanging around, what do you plan on doing sign-wise? I mean, you don't really want to attract the customers to this building, so
Yeah, we have
shows
enough
that signs are
signage.
staying, but what are you gonna have on them?
They actually can't. Those signs are non-conforming.
Right.
You have to remove those signs anyway, so.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Well, but if they want signage,
Yeah, they'll have to come
they'll have to
back.
come before us again, but those should be removed.
And the pole sign on the street, too.
Actually, the pole sign has variations for the location because it has a non-compliant setback, and it has a variation not to have landscaping. So they may reuse that sign in its current
So you
location.
could reface it, but again, do you even want to? Because that would make people think that.
We
they
have
could
enough
close it.
signage on the 1212.
Yeah,
Where that's exactly what you said. We want them to come to that location.
okay.
So are you going to remove the signs?
We're not going to add signage to the pole, but we're not going to remove the whole
Okay.
signage on the other pole signage.
Well, if you're not gonna have anything on the pole sign, then you're better off just removing it, I would think.
Cost-wise.
Yeah, it costs money.
You might want to use it in some manner.
Yes, so,
You can think about it.
Theoretic.
It's not under review today.
yeah,
It's permitted for use, and
Okay.
you can think about it.
But it has to at least have their name or, right?
No, there's options. We can talk
Okay.
about it.
You can work with them on that. Are there underground tanks on this property, do you know? The one shot of the parking lot almost looked like there was not a manhole, but an access point to a tank.
Well, the first EPA didn't come out. We didn't do the second phase. So
Okay, but yeah, they would have found that on the first one, I'm sure. Okay, that's all I had, thanks.
Commissioner Blanova?
Thank you. I don't have any questions. I'm just glad this building getting updated.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Brooke, if we could go back to the picture from, of the front. Okay, so just for clarification, and I know we've all talked about it, Commissioner Creech discussed it, Commissioner Dorban did. The asphalt is being resurfaced in the front along the sides and the back. It's all being ripped up and new asphalt going in, and then the front is going to be striped for parking spaces?
That's correct.
Okay. Do they need to have a handicap spot there?
Yeah,
believe
they
there
show
is.
one.
There is one?
We do.
Okay, well, I'm sure the code is. And then, so that's all going to be done, redone. And then the fencing, and I was a bit confused on the fence. So on either side, there are chain link fences. And those are going to be removed, and you're going to have wooden gates there on the north side, and then on the south side, there's going to be a gate there also, next to the, right there. So next to the dumpster, is there going to be a gate there?
No, there's no gate on that.
There's no gate on the
section
south
right
side?
On the east side, that east section of the fence, there's no gate on that side. The only gate to that outdoor storage area is off to the rear.
Okay, because looking at it, let me find the picture on here because I can't see it on there. It looks like there is a gate there now. And you're taking that out, and that's just going to be solid.
Well, what there is there's the trash enclosure there, so.
And then right next to the trash enclosure,
Yeah, there's a
That's a gate,
chain
right?
link gate.
48.
Yeah,
a gate.
there will not be a gate there.
okay, and that's being removed. And and then the chain link that is on the south side of the building, there's an existing chain link. Is that going to be replaced? And that's next to the gas station. Is that going to be replaced?
Yeah, all of the fencing, all the chain link will be removed.
Removed, okay. And then going along the back, next to our homeowners, I think you had mentioned it, is that 6 feet?
6 feet, yes.
6 feet. And you said that they're 12 inches higher now as it is, the residence?
Yes, that concrete retaining wall piece actually wraps around the entire back of the property and then back even on the south side.
So are you putting the fencing on that retaining wall in the back?
If technically it's still, I believe the fence limitation is 6 feet, so.
Is that,
From grade. Where's the property line?
I feel like there might be an exception in the code for 25% increase for fences. Does that sound familiar?
I'm just
We'll take a
wondering-
look at the code.
I'm just wondering if in the back, we can go with a higher fence?
We'll investigate that right now.
Okay. So then, just helps our neighbors in the back, okay? And and then the fence goes along the rear, and then comes up on the west side, you've got the board-on-board that's going to be in between the two buildings, right? And it will go all the way up to the end of this building that you're purchasing. It'll just go up to there, to the front of it, and then you're going to have a gate there, right?
No.
No, the fence goes just along the back property line
Right,
and it stops
right,
at the north,
yep.
at the north property line.
And then does it come
No,
up
it does
towards
not return.
83?
No.
It does not, okay. Just wanted to make sure. So there is a fence there already, and you're taking that down?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And so then if you have a slider for the trash enclosure, and that trash enclosure looks like it's in disrepair. Looks like it needs some tuck pointing and probably some new brick.
Yes, it is noted to be, the masonry to be repaired.
Masonry.
Interesting masonry work on that, too.
Yeah.
Some vertical bricks.
Is it? I didn't see it. So, okay. And then painting it,
Can we see that?
I would say metal cap.
so I saw, and I had a question about, find the drawing. It says the new light beige ephes, so you're putting some new things on there because you say a new light beige ephes sill band. That's new, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and then you're painting the existing, that lighter color, and it reads on here, the plan that you have, existing sign to remain, but if you have, I don't know how that, you should probably pull those off, both of those signs. Is that okay, Brooke, that we can have them remove those signs, the can signs?
Yes, they should be removed.
Right, so that'll be all painted,
Do you want that
repaired.
as a condition of
Yes.
special
Right.
use approval? Okay.
What we don't,
So 25.
repair existing brick, what we don't have is examples of the wall packs. You do have a lighting plan, which is good, and it's 0 at the back of the lot line, which is what we're looking for, which is fine. You actually have the manufacturer, you just don't have a picture of it, and I think that's fine.
Yes, it does have full cutoffs.
Okay. Striping. So the picture that's up here, so this is the only storage you're going to have, right here. And most likely, you said it could be mufflers. We don't want it. Is there a way we can put a condition on there as to what can be stored? I mean, we don't want any corrosive type materials out there, batteries that could be stored. And in addition, I would assume if you're going to store mufflers out there, you'd put them on some type of rack. So they should not exceed the height of the fence.
Yeah, nowadays we do just in time. We don't store a lot of materials or
that's
parts. We get it delivered on the same day.
Ah,
So
okay.
the only thing we have is some mufflers because piping. So we do our own mufflers on the other side. So we would never have that much storage needs.
So it wouldn't be old mufflers out there?
The old mufflers they come get them every day. I mean, scrap metal people.
But you put that in a dumpster?
No, scrap metal comes and gets them. We keep them inside and then scrap metal just gets them.
Okay,
They sell them, so they make their own money.
excellent. It's better, even better.
That is better. Brooke, were you looking at the fence?
Yes, so we found a section of the code that allows the community director discretion in increasing the fence height by 25%, which would be 1.5 feet, in this instance, so up to 7.5 feet. However, that is up to the community director's discretion, and so if you'd like, I can include a recommendation in your conditions that the fence height be increased pursuant to the community director's discretion per section 19.03.080 of the village's zoning code.
Don't you have them on a direct line? I can call them. Would everybody, if I can get a nod or a nay, would everybody be in agreement to raising the back fence?
Yeah, because it'll be only 6 feet on the rear
Right. just on the
behind them. It would only be 6 feet off of their elevation.
Yeah, so we're going to raise it. if the community director approves it to 7.5 feet.
Yep.
Everybody a nod?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great, good. Just thought of that. Striping storage. So I've got to tell you, I don't know if you've gone on Google Earth recently, but I just hope I mean, it's a mess. I mean, and that was from a while ago because there were cars there. I can't see when this was printed because this says 2018 now. When, do you know when this closed? When that closed?
That was 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. Jeez, okay.
Actually, yeah, 2 years ago.
So this is over 2 years.
No, it's like 3 years ago because it was empty for a year. And we bought it last January. And yeah, so we've had it since last January.
Because I'm looking at this and the picture that I see, there's a car where your storage facility is going to be, outside storage. So that's our piece of property, but we do have our neighbors behind us, so I'd like to keep that as clean as possible. Raising the, I don't know why you would put a car there anyway, raising the fence will be a great help. And if you're directing your customers to your existing building, and, that will help also alleviate some of the parking issues that you have, so. And we talked about, I saw that, so I don't have any other questions. Does anybody have any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
There's a shed in the pictures. Is that going to be?
That's to be removed.
Okay. And looking again at that sidewalk on the side where it's standing water, it looks to me like the whole sidewalk has dropped down. If you look where it's connected to the trash enclosure, there's a definite lean to it. So maybe just mud jacking that up.
Well, I think we have a
replacing it.
condition that we want them to alleviate the
Standing water.
standing water.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, this is a tough property, and purchasing it takes it off, puts it back onto our tax rolls, so somebody's paying taxes on it in the village, and that's a good thing. And just need to ensure that it's kept. You're gonna put a lot of money into this building, and we'd like to have it kept that way. But that's normal maintenance that anybody would do on any building. So that's without question. So Brooke, would you like to review what you have for conditions?
Okay.
So the petitioner also knows, and you'll get a copy of those also, so.
So there were 2 conditions in the staff report for the special use. They are prior to occupancy, the parking lot, and I've actually modified this one, that the parking lot and asphalt drives shall be resurfaced and restriped. And number 2 reads, in the event that the special use is no longer owned or operated in tandem by the light auto motor vehicle repair business at 1212 Elmhurst Road, the village shall be notified immediately. This change in ownership, management, or operation will require the petitioner to obtain approval of a revision of the special use after review by the Plan Commission and consideration by the Village Board pursuant to Section 19.10.0301 of the Village's zoning code. If such revision is not approved, the special use shall automatically terminate without a revocation hearing. And then during the course of this hearing, I have drafted several more conditions.
And is this on all on the special use?
Yes.
Okay, that's right, okay.
Okay.
Right.
So prior to occupancy, efforts shall be made to alleviate the standing water on the south side of the building. Prior to occupancy, the non-painted exterior walls shall be power washed. The trash enclosure gate shall have a sliding mechanism for opening pursuant to the fire department memo. The existing wall signs shall be removed, and it is recommended that the rear fence height be increased pursuant to the community director's discretion per section 19.03.080 of the village's zoning code. I think that's all I have.
I had a question about removing the wall signs?
Yes.
Can you add to that, removing the wall signs and repairing the wall?
Okay.
Just making sure.
The existing wall sign shall be removed and the wall repaired as needed.
Right.
Brooke,
Yes.
are they not painting the whole building?
No, just the
It
front.
says here on page 2 that they are.
Yeah, the original submittal was that the entire building was be painted, but it's just the front facade and the sides and the rear will be just power washed and cleaned.
I think they were actually, we'll tuck point them and clean them.
Okay. Yeah. Does anybody have any, Commissioner Creech brought up painting the whole thing, but does anybody have any comments, other comments about that?
No, if they get it power washed, I think that'll be a big improvement, and tuck pointed as needed.
It's gonna look like a shadow. It's lipstick on a pig.
Can we bring up something regarding outdoor storage?
Yes.
Okay, so light auto motor vehicle repair is not supposed to have outdoor storage. It's supposed to be enclosed within the building. If the petitioner identifies a certain type of need for outdoor storage, it should be very specific.
I did not know that. Did I miss that? Did we miss that in the, I missed that.
Well, we talked about
We talked about storage.
no used mufflers or no batteries or no corrosive storage in the rear. He was talking about just maybe a pipe rack or something like that for, bending, for tailpipes, et cetera. So yes, they shouldn't have any old vehicles or garbage in that storage area. It should be usable product, I would assume.
How would we address that? If there's no storage allowed in light automotive,
If there is storage, it's supposed to be specific to proper disposal needs, such as motor oils or tires.
That can't be stored in the trash enclosure.
Right, that are not permitted to be stored indoors or in the trash enclosure per code. So is there a reason why you would store those parts on a rack outside as opposed to indoors?
There was no reason, I just brought it up because that would,
Sure.
something we could use, but
Right, okay.
So like we talked about last session, in the Google Earth image, there are cars stored in the back and on the side, so
That would not be permitted.
you can store cars, right, is what we established. I mean,
Well, they
you
don't-
can't, like, storing cars versus owning, yeah, so like, I'm just saying, they shouldn't be allowed to store cars there. That's basically because in the image, there are cars there. So, unless they were just parked there, but where do you draw the line between parking and storing?
It shouldn't be parked
No
there
parking.
either.
Parked or stored there.
All right,
No parking, no storage.
then
and actually
clearly
the
identify.
gate they're going to put in, I don't think you can get a
They
car
won't allow it,
through.
that's true.
You can get a car through anyway.
I see them in the Google Earth image, so
Yeah,
let's just make sure that cars don't
And-
end up back there.
and that's why I asked the petitioner when it was, so this has to be over 2 years old, that picture,
Okay,
amazingly.
Okay.
Because that's what I looked at too. So how do, Brooke and Mallory, how do we address this outdoor storage? If it's
Not allowed.
If it's not allowed, then it's not allowed. So the condition then, the condition should be, the storage should only be used for those, however you had worded it, that it can only be used for things that can't fit into the garbage, right?
Right.
But
I was not aware of that, so that's our fault.
Well, there wasn't a lot of detail in the petitioner's application regarding that storage area, so it's
Until
good
it
that we're
brought up.
talking about it.
We're talking about it,
Yeah.
okay.
And I apologize, we didn't jump in earlier, we were
We
looking
were-
at the fence thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
we couldn't hear your discussion.
That aerial photo isn't that old because it's got the new baseball diamond at Wheeling.
I know,
look at you.
so yeah, it's weird, yeah.
It looks like it's modified.
Yeah.
That all.
Yeah.
So if we're going on if you're using the words that don't fit in the garbage can, a car doesn't fit in a garbage can either, so is that the wording you're actually using?
No.
No.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure we're clear.
So what are we using?
We're working on it right now.
Okay.
Specific temporary disposal specific for temporary storage for, in order to allow for proper disposal of similar, or what is it?
Give us a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give us 1
Okay.
second.
So we're going to put a time limit, not to exceed?
Who's going to police it?
Well, how do we police anything?
Google Earth,
The best we can.
drones.
Too close to the airport.
Well, we had a similar with Peach Storage where
Yeah,
they
that's
asked for variation, so
Yep.
That's what I was referencing.
technically they can't have that. So take the fence down.
Technically, they can't have it, based upon our existing code. So, but we're going to clarify it
Somehow.
somehow.
Well, no hazardous materials.
No automobiles.
Which covers a wide range.
So we could maybe jump in and offer an alternate.
Sure.
Since the outdoor storage is not really a major aspect of this business, we could just eliminate that part of it altogether. It's really not.
Okay,
Okay.
that would be fine.
Yeah. that's
That'd be
fine,
fine.
too.
Makes
That
it
makes it
easy.
even easier.
Never
Coming
seen you
up
guys
with
so
things
excited.
Make
It's
that
getting
the,
easier nowadays for the auto parts just to bring us everything, so.
Oh,
Okay.
fantastic.
so you can have a nice little picnic spot for your employees back there.
I'm sure that's exactly.
Thank you, sir, for that. Thank you,
Grass
sir.
back there.
Yeah.
Bocce ball.
Okay, good.
Yeah, bocce court.
All right. Any other,
We have one other thing.
one other thing, okay.
This is actually a condition related to the variation, specific to the parking variation. Attorney Maluzzi suggested that we add a condition similar to condition number 2 on the special use, such that this property is, if it's no longer owned or operated in tandem with the adjacent light motor vehicle repair business at 1212 Elmhurst Road, the village shall be notified immediately. This would allow for the Plan Commission and ultimately the board to review the use to verify that the parking variation is sufficient or if it needs to be adjusted. So I can read this condition in
read it, yeah.
entirety.
Right.
It is, in the event that the property is no longer owned or operated in tandem by the light auto motor vehicle repair business at 1212 Elmhurst Road, the village shall be notified immediately. This change in ownership, management, or operation will require the petitioner to obtain approval of a revision of the parking variation after review by the Plan Commission and consideration by the village board pursuant to Section 19.06.030B of the Village's zoning code. If such revision is not approved, the parking variation shall automatically terminate without a revocation hearing.
Good. Any other questions? So do I hear a motion on 2018-38 special use site plan approval for light motor vehicle repair with the conditions, and she's holding up her finger.
That's
One
B.
more.
B.
We just read the condition.
Okay,
This says A.
sorry. Okay,
Is it?
let me make sure. I apologize. I have my sheets mixed up.
Oh, sheet.
Okay, so this is for the variation.
No, it's for.
No, special use.
Sorry,
A
special
is the
use.
special use.
Thank you. Okay, got it. I'm ready now.
With the conditions that were read,
Yes.
okay?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Kalis. Ms. Secretary?
Thank you. Commissioner Villanova, yes. Commissioner Creech?
No.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Callis?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. I like that, Mr. Chairman. 2018-3B, zoning variations related to required parking, green space, building setback, and parking setback. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kalis, second by Commissioner Johnson. Ms. Secretary?
Thank you. Commissioner Villanova, yes. Commissioner Creech?
No.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Callis?
Yes.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Sir, you'll have something to sign. Welcome to the Village of Wheeling. Thank you, and good luck. I'm sure Brooke will get a hold of you when you have to go before the village board and all those wonderful things. So, Mexico Muffler has 13 sites, 14 sites. Wow. In the suburbs? Cool. That's pretty darn good. I mean, except for that one, except, I lead a sort of a sheltered life. I don't see much work,
This isn't.
No, yeah, no, I've never had it. And they're all the same? So 14 Mexico and 14? And you're a franchisee? You're the CFO?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. It's just those gravy, wow. So you're the money man.
Sorry, I had to make a change. There's a lot going on here tonight.
It's
There you go.
It's great. Well, congratulations. It's,
I mean, I would prefer
is it really?
Yeah, that's why we.
Oh, good. And just signed both of those. Oops. Oh, we have another one.
Plus the buildup.
Oh, you have this one too.
Oh, gosh, sorry.
No, that's mine. Mine, this came apart.
So then they're gonna have that, and then it's gonna stop, and then the whole is over.
This copy is yours.
And then if you can sign these two. Top will come off for that one.
Oh, right. That are behind the prospect.
And one of those is yours. Thank you, sir. And thank you. And good luck. Thank you.
Well, then, they have to go to prospect. Heights at conformity.
Number 8, approval of minutes, March 8th, 2018, including findings for docket number 2017-19.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain? I did not read them. Other business, Brooke?
I have nothing.
Nothing? I'm going to start off. Everybody should have received an email for completing your statement of economic interest. Please complete those. I think you have until May 30th to complete those. There is they sent out the first email, and it didn't have anything for existing returning commissioners. It only had instructions for new commissioners, and then they sent out a revised one. So it's just, I think it's 5 or 6 questions. So let's make sure everybody gets that done, or else there's a fine, I guess.
I had gotten one, a notice like 2 months ago.
That was from, actually from the village, asking if, or no, asking, no, it was from them asking if you were still a member.
No, mine was a new password and.
Oh, really?
And user ID, which
Oh.
I thought was odd.
Odd, yeah, okay.
And when I went to try it back then, it said you can't do it yet. So,
Other business?
no, sir, nothing.
Commissioner Blanova? No, sir. And a fine job tonight.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Did a good job. Thank you. And thank you for substituting. Commissioner Dorban?
I have nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Kalis?
Nothing, thank you.
And Commissioner Creech?
I have nothing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I don't either. I will not be at the next meeting, as an aside. Thank you all for tonight. A lot was going on. That was a different type of, a unique piece of property.
Yes.
Very unique piece of property. It's surrounded by, well, no, it's not surrounded by Wheeling. It's surrounded by Prospect Heights. The gas station is Prospect Heights. The other store is Prospect Heights. Behind them is Wheeling. And actually, I thought at one time, the gas station gets the water from Wheeling.
I think they still do,
They still do, yeah. So
just not Wheeling.
it's an interesting piece of property that has sat idle for a long time. So it's at least it's going to get used, and we'll get some tax money out of it. That's going to be an interesting one. So,
Yeah, how does that work?
yeah, I don't know. Not our problem. Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are done.